was no relationship with anyone in the class. It was just him and the board, and, you know, you learn this, write this down, and get it. He was obviously incredibly brilliant and very smart. And he just lecture up at the board, write down all his equations and everything else. And within 5 minutes, I was out like a light because I just couldn't take it.
You can't learn anything because they're trying, first 15 minutes, they're trying to shut up the class. Then they get a little teaching in, and while people are making wisecracks. In the last 15 minutes, they're trying to shut up the class because they're excited about leaving.
Yeah. Is that the teacher or the student, though? No one likes to be pegged as being a nerd. No one likes being pegged as a smart aleck in the class.
When you're a kid, your first grade, you know, the illustration is everybody goes, oh, me, me, me. And by the time you get to be a senior in high school, you don't even want to raise your hand, you know? Yeah.
You have so many kids that come to school just for a fashion show, you know? You have so many kids that come to school just to fight. You have so many kids that come to school just for sports. You have so many reasons. The reasons go on from here to next year to why people come to school besides education, right. You know?
I think that because I did so horrible in high school, I feel so much better about my own outlook on college because I look back and see all the mistakes I made.
I don't care what people say, there's a lot of pressure at school. You handle, academically and socially. And I think they're just afraid of losing control of your lives. And by dropping out, it's not going to do them any good because you actually just lost control of your life. You can't expand your horizons.
School, school, school. With host, former National Teacher of the Year, Guy Dowd. Brought to you by S.C. Johnson & Son Incorporated. And by the Procter & Gamble Company. Former National Teacher of the Year, Guy Dowd.
National Teacher of the Year. I always get a little embarrassed when they introduce me as a National Teacher of the Year. I remember when I was chosen as National Teacher of the Year in 1986, a reporter from the USA Today phoned me, a gentleman by the name of Steve Marshall, and he said, Mr. Dowd, he said, what does it feel like to have been chosen as the best teacher in America? Now, who wouldn't like to think that you're the best? You know, the best teacher, the best student, the best athlete, you know, the best musician in all of America, and my head started to get really big. And then all of a sudden, the reality of what he said hit me, and I said, Mr. Marshall, sir, you have to stop right there, because in no way does being chosen Teacher of the Year mean I'm the best teacher anywhere. Certainly not in America. With 2.5 million public school teachers, not in Minnesota, not even in Brainerd, Minnesota, where I teach. Hopefully, I'm the best teacher in my classroom. And sometimes I'm not even so sure about that. But the whole idea behind that program isn't to pick the best teacher, because that would be impossible, but it's to pick somebody to speak on behalf of all teachers. So I really don't have any claim to fame. If I had any claim to fame at all, and kids that had me my first couple of years as a teacher will get they can testify to this. I used to weigh 327 pounds. And let me tell you, going to school as one of the fat kids gave me a whole different perspective on education than most of the so-called experts give you. So when the producers of this program asked me to say a few words about teaching in school, I was happy to learn that they really care about what the kids in and out of school think. This is not just another program with a bunch of over-the-hill teachers sitting around talking about education in America. This is a better way. And here's an example. A few weeks ago, while most high schoolers were still on summer break, we asked some of them to find out for us what teenagers themselves think about education.
Hi, my name is Julie, and if you're like me, you know that you didn't learn everything that you know in the classroom. All those extracurricular activities, friends, family, jobs, sports, dating, and of course just hanging out teach us a lot. So the producers of this program gave us a camera crew for a couple of days and asked us to talk to teens in the Midwest outside of school.
If they don't work, people usually tend to call them a bum or something, just sitting around lazing in the pool or something. It just teaches me how to deal with people because, sometimes you get these customers that are just really annoying and harassing, and, you know, and you have to be pleasant to them, and that's kind of, it's kind of, you know, the fight or flight syndrome that you get, you know, where you either want to hit them or you just want to get away, and you can't do either, and you have to deal with that.
The earlier you learn about responsibility, I think the better. If you can pay for your own clothes and say, wow, this hard work really got me something, I think that it will pay off later, and you'll appreciate money more.
I began to feel like the work was useless. I mean, at my age, you can't make enough money to make a great killing, you know? I mean, you're gonna save what? If you work 2 years, you have expenses as a high school student, you're gonna save maybe $2 grand. I mean, why not just study a little harder and get a $2,000 scholarship?
I'd like you just do a little faster. And also on the 3/8 notes going up, give me a little crescendo and lead into the next note, the next measure.
Okay. I've known some people where jobs did interfere with their schoolwork. They get home really late. They get home like around maybe 11 or 12 sometimes, and they're too tired. I mean, they're too tired to do their homework. You can make the money later. Right now, the most important thing is to get a good education. Education, I think, is one of the most important gifts that we have right now.
I teach tennis usually to smaller kids. This is the first time I've seen school from the other point of view. Usually I'm the student. I kind of see more of the psychological aspect, trying how to get the students to learn. I mean, that's sometimes that's hard. And I have a few wild classes where it's like, what do you do when the students don't even listen to you? You yell at them, they don't listen, they don't do it. So I see more of that aspect of how to control them and how to get them to be motivated is a big thing.
You tell yourself, I have to do it. You know, you can't lean on somebody else for it. It's your life. You have to say, hey, I've got to hold my life, and I'm going to do it.
We may be down, and it's just heart that keeps me going and tells me, don't stop, keep going, you're still short of your goal. I'm pretty self-motivated. My family doesn't play that big of a role in my education.
I can't afford, not just for my own sake, but for my family's sake, I can't afford to fail. I can't afford to make a mistake. I have to be, you know, the best that I can be. I mean, the media tells you got to be the best that you can be, but I think that kind of pressure from my family, it's a good pressure, but, you know, I gotta succeed, and I have to be more than what they were, or else, you know, I feel like I'm a failure.
Motivation probably comes from my parents and friends. Especially, a lot of times you'll find a few friends who are really close, and they help you to see your goals, and I can mention, you know, a few friends in my life who really motivated me, and those are the people. My parents have always pushed me to do my best, and that's helped too with motivation.
I don't want money to be too overbearing, but I want to have the money to go on with my life and get the good education so I can get stability when I'm older.
If you just are after money, your life, I think, is very two-dimensional then. You know, I mean, you don't have a full, I mean, your character kind of just stays in one mode, you might say.
Religion in my life comes first. There's family, then there's my academics. I feel that if I have the top two, then the third will take care of itself. Because if I have the support from them, I feel that I have the motivational push that keeps me going.
As I do grow older, I realize that you can't do without God. Once he's got a hold of you, he's not going to let go of you. And, you know, he's such a big part of my life, and he's the key to my future. And I really believe if I don't have him there, I'm not going to make it.
My parents, they kind of like rule my life. They tell me what to do, when to do it, and I pretty much listen to them. In church, well, I was always brought up as, you know, going to church every weekend and doing what's right according to the man, the upper man, if you understand.
I do not attend church, but unfortunately it's because I don't have time and because my parents left it up to me to make it my own choice.
My religion, it helps me, I think, sometimes when I'm down, you know, and when I'm just really frustrated with everything, I can just turn to it and, you know, it's peaceful. And I don't know, it gives me a sense of peace inside. I calm down and I think about things, you know, one at a time, and I get through. You know, I don't spaz out or anything.
I don't like the concept of grades because it's too competitive. It makes people competitive to get the better grades and stuff. And I see people cheating and all that just for grades.
There was one teacher I had who was just great. He was so effective at what he did. If you didn't do an assignment, he didn't get mad at you. It was just a feeling that you got that you really messed up, and it really made you feel bad. So it was just it was a really effective way of making people do their assignments.
Teachers are wise. They know what they're doing. They went through 4 years of education. They know what they're doing. And I think we don't respect them for that sometimes. I don't think we should take advantage of their knowledge. And I think a lot of students today don't do that. They'll look at a teacher and say, God, this is so boring. What do they know? What am I going to... Like, for instance, a person taking a calculus class. What do I need calculus for? Well, you can use calculus for a lot of things, for engineering, even for basic things. Math is important. And I think students will realize that when they get to, I guess, a working situation. They will realize how important education is, no matter what it is. Even sciences. A lot of my friends say, oh, I don't want to take any more sciences after my first year. I got my requirements done, that's good enough. That's not good enough. You have to know more about the world to make it better. No matter who you are, one person will make a difference.
Deep down, perhaps most kids feel like Tina. Somehow they believe that with a little help at school, one person will make a difference. In a moment, we'll go to an inner-city school in the heart of Chicago to find out if that is really true. To a school in a small town in Minnesota, the problems of a big school in a big city like Chicago seem to be in another world. But today, no matter where you go to school, you know what those problems are. The national report card on schools would seem to show that we haven't yet found solutions to the problems. But come with me for a few minutes to one of those big inner city schools, which is discovering some better ways to deal with the issues. The school is in a predominantly Puerto Rican community where the majority of the residents live on low income. Unemployment, single-parent homes, street gangs, and drug traffic are common. Known throughout the Midwest for its award-winning steel drum bands and championship sports teams, Roberto Clemente Community Academy is also a public high school, striving for new and better ways to educate. From a first-floor preschool and kindergarten designed to attract children to high school at an early age, to an 8th-floor state-of-the-art kitchen and restaurant built for career development, people in this school really want to make a difference.
The kid starts out preschool, first, second, third grade, where he learns most. And he's got the attention of a teacher who's going to focus on him and teach him how to read, teach him how to computate. He's going to have far less problems down the road. Instead of worrying about having 28 in the class in high school, worry about having 1 or 2 or 3 in an elementary school so the teacher can concentrate on those people. Even if you have to put the kid on a one-to-one basis. If you have to spend that kind of money, that's where it has to be spent. Legislators don't want to do this simply because they're not going to realize how successful this is for another 20 years, and most of them will be out of office by then, and they want to see Band-Aid solutions. You know, they introduce things like dropout prevention programs for the high school. That's wonderful. I think they should be there, but the money has to be spent down there.
Put your foot inside, circle foot inside. Put your foot inside, circle foot inside. On the count of 5, let it pop outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Since they come and they play, they figure, oh, I like this is fun. So they want to come to school, and you start growing. The kids start like growing their interest in school because they figure, oh, I like going in there and playing with Jonathan or playing with Micaela, because they figure that they are playing, although they are really learning. It makes education fun.
If you have a school which is trying to meet the needs of the entire community, then of course you have to try to meet those needs, and you're going to have some shortcomings. Many of them.
Borrowing lessons learned already in preschool, many of the high school classes recreate the excitement of field trips to help students better understand their community and what careers it has to offer.
I'd like your assessment in terms of, did that help by leaving the school and going on to some nearly 30 field trips. What was your opinion on that?
Well, I felt very good because that helped me learn a lot more out in the field than I would here.
The course is a career development center for law and justice, and it seeks to be a citizenship course as well. What are their obligations? What are their rights? What are their responsibilities as citizens? From a very close to home neighborhood and beyond, so that during the 20 weeks, they are on a journey going beyond their neighborhood and seeing the at-large community that they're a part of. The course uses the city and the legal community as resources, so it's very hands-on learning. The hope is that they will, as they're looking at career development, realize that they have tremendous amount of potential.
You get to go out and meet the people face to face, and there have been times that, we ask them what's on our mind, and we'll ask them honestly, and they'll tell us that, they won't beat around the bush. See, it's not like them giving you out a brochure or giving you a book and say, here, read this, and then turn the answers. You could ask them one-on-one, so that's what I appreciate the most.
But inner city schools can't always meet the needs of high-risk students by themselves. Clemente High School opens the doors for help from outside the school.
We have invited all agencies. In fact, I brought youth guidance in here 15, 16 years ago. They are dealing with hardcore situations. They're not going to have that many successes. Some of them are going to be very mediocre achievements, but somebody's got to do it.
My name is Maria Lisa.
Staff members of the nonprofit Youth Guidance Organization devote many hours a week counseling high-risk students. Here, Edwin helps girlfriends of gang leaders deal with their personal problems.
Okay, then afterwards, we're going to try to solve it. We're going to try to work with it.
For my parents, they're always arguing for little stuff. I try to talk to my mother, and I try to talk to my father, but every time they get in arguments. So what I do, make them sit down and talk to each other. But then that gets me, and then they start fighting with me. So, I drop it and go somewhere.
A lot of these girls are referred to me through their teachers, whether they're hurting academically, whether some of the girls tell their teachers to struggle, and the teachers tell me that I'll have a better relationship with them, so they just hand them over to me.
It's hard for us to cope with our problems, and then again, it's hard to let people know what's wrong with us. And every time people come in new, it's hard for us to, to open to them, to get used to them. You don't know what they're gonna do. You don't know if they're gonna go tell somebody else.
The girls are very different from the guys group. The girls are able to sit back, and they're just able to open up a lot faster and a lot easier, whereas the guys, they're too macho.
You have a problem, you come out and you let it out.
I graduated from Trinity Christian College, and my heart's desire was always to work with young people. I always thought it would be an awesome thing to come back to the school that you've graduated from, a high school, and be a part of the staff. What keeps me going, and I know that I don't think this is for sure, is that my relationship with the Lord, that I do have a deep relationship with Him, and He guides me and He helps me. Sometimes I don't want to just be a person just listening and off therapy, but I've learned in college and whatever. I really want to get into their struggles. I really want to listen to them. I really want to care. I don't want to be a phony. I don't want to be phony. I don't want to just go, this is just a job. I do care for them.
Well, if it wouldn't have been for Edwin, we wouldn't get the group started in the first place. And he was the one that opened the group to, to talk to each other, to feel free to talk about our problems.
One of the most unique educational programs which Youth Guidance also provides for Clemente is called GATE, Graffiti Artists Tagging Their Environment.
The school was being vandalized by graffiti, two types. There was the gang graffiti, and then there was sort of an artistic lettering, and we came up with this group where art and artistic lettering is welcomed and encouraged and even sold.
Because, see, I used to go around doing all this tagging stuff, vandalizing the school, but then, I heard about GATE. I started coming here, and I stopped. I just started, doing my art on paper and not on the walls.
We don't necessarily teach. We're giving kids who have even a remote interest in art a place to do what they want to do.
Being in GATE is fun. Get to meet new people, get to express your own artwork.
There are other agencies, too. We've invited everybody to help us. And many have come. The Network for Youth Services, they're helping us out there. They have set up all kinds of alternative schools.
If you NYS Alternative High School, we have Milagro Rivera. Milagro?
I decided to drop out because I knew it was going to take me too long to graduate from high school. I had already failed a year. I was going to have a baby. I mean, it was going to be hard for me, you know? And so I decided just drop out.
This alternative high school is a program that retrieves students from the ages of 16 to 21 who are dropouts or kickouts from the area high schools. The teachers work with the students on a 10 to 1, 12 to 1 ratio, so students can get extra help and attention, talk about their problems. A lot of students have problems in the area, economic problems, parenting problems, gang problems, being mothers and fathers.
Every program within the school is an attempt to build positive relationships between students and teachers so that learning will be relevant.
We had no money, no student congress, no sponsor, no materials, no nothing. And we've made over, what, $2,000 this year? Right! Over $3,000 this year, which is like the most we've ever made in the 4 years that I've been here at the student congress. Yeah. So we really worked hard, and it was all thanks to this giving.
We don't feel that we should really be a fundraising group. If we make money, we like to turn that money around and present it in awards or do service work with it. We did a service project at Christmas time. So, you know, we're involving kids in positive activities, whether they're to promote school spirit, student leadership, but they're getting involved. We have a high dropout rate, as many of the inner city schools do. And involving students in clubs, athletics, it helps to fight that dropout rate.
I like these kids. I go further than that. I love them. I know them personally. I know their fathers. It's getting embarrassing because I know their grandfathers. I had them as students. I have a very strong tie with the people here, with the kids. We have not only become teacher and student, we have become personal friends. I go to their weddings, we break bread together. It goes beyond this teacher relationship.